Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will talk about a very important concept of accounting. Basically, students face the problem of debit and the credit, that which account should be debited and which account should be credited. There are the assets, drawings, expense, liabilities, equity and the revenue, and it is very difficult to identify that which account should be debited and which should be credited. Here the DE, DC, add and LUR. This thing you have to keep in mind in order to understand the trick. D means debit. C means credit. Here A for asset, D for drawing, and E for expense. So same is the case with LUR. L for liability, E for equity, and R for revenue. So if we talk about what account should be debited and what should be credited, then it must be kept in mind that DC add LUR, that is the code basically which will identify that which account should be debited and which should be credited. Now here we make a difference between the debit side and the credit side. Basically D for the debit, C for the credit, A for the asset, D for drawing, E for expense. On the same way, L for liability, E for equity, and R for revenue. So here DC add LUR. So this will make sense that what is DC add LUR? D for the debit, C for the credit, A for asset, D for drawing, and E for expense. Same is the case L for liability, E for equity, and R for revenue. Now if we talk about which account should be debited out of that and which should be credited. Whenever there is an increase in the asset, drawing, or the expense, whenever basically there is an increase in the debit side, it will always be debited. So if we talk about credit, whenever there is increase in liability, equity, or the revenue, it will always be credited, no matter what is the case. So if we talk about whenever there is a decrease in the asset, drawing, and the expense, or whenever there is a decrease in the debit side, it will always be credited. However, if we talk about the liability side, equity side, or the revenue side, basically which is the credit side, whenever there is a fall in the liability, fall in the equity, or fall in the revenue, it will always be debited. So that was the case. Now let us talk about this in the narration form so you better understand. Here we describe that one in the narration form. Increase in the asset, drawing, and the expenses are always debit, which is basically increase in the debit side is always debited. Secondly, decrease in the asset, drawing, and the expense is always credited. Whenever they decrease in the debit side, the decrease in the debit side, it will be credited. On the other hand, increase in the liability, equity, revenue, which is basically the credit side, increases, it will be credited. However, when there is a decrease on the credit side, it will be debited. If you like my video, kindly subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. Have a good day.